You know what most people get completely wrong about extremely high IQ individuals? They picture someone cold, arrogant, or socially strange. But the actual psychology of these people is far more surprising and deeply human than most expect. Research in cognitive psychology reveals that people with extremely high IQs carry specific invisible patterns in how they think, feel, and connect with the world. This video will walk you through exactly what makes them genuinely different. The first thing that sets them apart is that they never stop questioning, and not just the world outside themselves. High IQ people constantly question their own beliefs, their own assumptions, and even their most confident personal conclusions. This behavior is called metacognition, which means thinking about your own thinking. Psychological studies consistently show that more intelligent individuals spend significantly more mental energy re-evaluating their own thought processes than average thinkers typically do in daily life. The second difference is how they handle uncertainty. While most people feel deeply uncomfortable when they lack a clear answer, people with extremely high IQs can sit inside open-ended questions for a very long time without growing anxious. Psychologist Jerome Kagan found that tolerance for ambiguity is one of the strongest psychological markers of high intelligence. Their brain does not panic without a final answer. It patiently holds the question open until real and genuine clarity arrives. The third difference shows up in how they communicate. People with extremely high IQs often say very little in group settings. But when they finally do speak, their words carry unusual weight, quiet precision, and a kind of natural authority. This is not shyness or social fear. It is selective communication. Their brain filters every word through deeper layers of internal analysis before they speak. Research confirms that highly intelligent people process far more internally before expressing anything at all. The fourth difference is their deep discomfort with small talk. Conversations about weather, casual gossip, or weekend plans genuinely drain them. Their mind hungers for depth, meaning, and real intellectual challenge in every conversation they find themselves part of. A study in the British Journal of Psychology found that highly intelligent people report significantly lower satisfaction from frequent shallow social interaction. Their brain needs genuine cognitive stimulation, not just social presence, to feel truly engaged and fully alive. The fifth difference is their relationship with their own self-worth. People with extremely high IQs often hold impossibly high internal standards. No matter how impressive their work appears to others, it rarely feels genuinely good enough to them personally. Psychologists connect this to what they call the imposter syndrome paradox. The smarter a person becomes, the more clearly they see everything they still do not know. That expanding awareness creates constant quiet internal pressure that never fully goes away. The sixth difference is pattern recognition at an extraordinary level. High IQ individuals naturally see connections between things that appear completely unrelated. Their mind builds invisible bridges between ideas, facts, and distant events that most people around them simply never notice. Neuroscience confirms that highly intelligent brains have stronger neural connectivity between distant brain regions. This means their mind links information across much wider networks, allowing them to detect patterns long before anyone else even begins to look for them. Now consider this for a moment. Think about a time when you noticed a connection between two things that no one else around you seemed to see. That quiet inner spark of recognition is something high IQ minds experience as a constant, daily reality. The seventh difference is emotional intensity. This completely contradicts the cold genius stereotype. People with extremely high IQs often experience emotions more deeply, more painfully, and more vividly than nearly everyone around them ever notices or understands about them. Psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski introduced the concept of overexcitabilities in gifted individuals. His research found that people with high intelligence experience heightened sensitivity across emotion, imagination, and sensory perception. Their inner world is simply far louder and more overwhelming than most people realize. The eighth difference is how they choose their relationships. High IQ individuals do not collect large circles of friends. They invest very deeply in a small number of connections where genuine honesty and real intellectual exchange can freely and naturally exist. Evolutionary psychologists suggest this comes from how their brain manages its energy. Maintaining many shallow social connections demands significant cognitive resources. Highly intelligent people unconsciously redirect that energy toward depth, ideas, and inner growth rather than wide social availability. The ninth difference is their extraordinary capacity for deep focus. When something truly captures their interest, people with extremely high IQs enter a state of near total mental absorption. Hours pass without them noticing because their concentration reaches an extraordinary and rare depth. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi called this state flow. His research showed that people with higher cognitive ability enter flow states more frequently and more completely. Their brain finds genuine pleasure in full, uninterrupted mental immersion and produces some of its best work there. The 10th difference is a very specific and quietly painful kind of loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone. High IQ individuals often feel fundamentally misunderstood because very few people around them actually think the way they naturally do. Psychologists describe this as the intelligence isolation effect. When your mind operates at a significantly different frequency from those around you, authentic and deeply satisfying connection becomes genuinely rare. The quiet longing for someone who truly understands never completely disappears. The 11th difference is how they respond to complexity and difficulty. Average minds tend to avoid problems that feel too overwhelming or unsolvable. But high IQ minds are actually energized by complexity. Difficulty does not frighten them. It genuinely feeds them. Neuroscience shows that highly intelligent brains release dopamine in direct response to challenging problems. Their prefrontal cortex becomes highly active when difficulty increases. Their brain is literally rewarded by the very same obstacles that most other people work hard to avoid. The 12th difference is a surprising communication gap. High IQ individuals often struggle to explain how they actually reached a conclusion. Their thinking moves so quickly and non-linearly that breaking it down into clear and simple steps feels almost impossible to do. Cognitive researchers call this the curse of knowledge. When your mind processes information at high speed through intuitive leaps and invisible internal connections, translating that entire mental journey into clear language for someone else becomes genuinely difficult and deeply frustrating work. The 13th difference is in how they learn. People with extremely high IQs rarely learn best through repetition or simple memorization. They learn by understanding the underlying structure of things, always asking why before they accept that something is simply true. This is supported by research on what psychologists call deep processing. High IQ learners engage with information at the level of meaning and structure rather than surface detail. Their brain builds knowledge frameworks rather than simply storing isolated facts in separate mental containers. The 14th difference is their complicated and often frustrating relationship with rules. They do not break rules out of rebellion or immaturity. They genuinely cannot follow a rule they do not logically understand. Without clear reasoning, the rule feels entirely meaningless to them. Studies in cognitive development show that highly intelligent individuals have a stronger internal need for logical consistency. They follow principles rather than plain instructions. When the underlying principle is clear and rational, their compliance is complete. When it is absent, so is their cooperation. The 15th difference is a rich and very private inner world that almost no one ever gets to see. High IQ individuals carry ongoing internal dialogues, complex layered imagination, and multiple simultaneous streams of thought that most people around them never experience or recognize. Psychologists describe this as a high level of inner complexity. Their mind is rarely truly quiet. Even in physical silence, they are processing, analyzing, imagining, and questioning. This inner richness makes them deeply fascinating to observe and deeply private to truly know. Now consider this for a moment. What would it feel like to carry a mind that never fully rests? To feel emotions more sharply than others, question everything more deeply than most, and still feel profoundly alone inside a world full of people? The 16th difference is their sensitivity to injustice. People with extremely high IQs often feel a disproportionately strong internal reaction to unfairness, hypocrisy, and moral inconsistency. What most people shrug off can genuinely disturb and unsettle a high IQ mind for days. Psychologists connect this to heightened systems thinking. High IQ individuals see the full implications of an unfair act with uncomfortable clarity. They understand the wider ripple effects. That unavoidable clarity makes it very difficult for them to simply look the other way. The 17th difference is their relationship with sleep and nighttime rest. Many people with extremely high IQs report difficulty falling asleep because their mind simply refuses to stop working. Thoughts keep arriving long after their body is fully ready to rest. Sleep research shows that highly intelligent individuals often have more active minds at night due to elevated neural processing. Their brain continues working through unresolved problems and open questions, even as the rest of the world around them has already gone entirely quiet. The 18th difference is a very particular kind of humor. People with extremely high IQs tend to have humor that is layered, subtle, and often completely missed by people nearby. What sounds like a simple comment contains several meanings operating at the same time. Research from the University of New Mexico found a significant correlation between verbal intelligence and the ability to produce and appreciate genuinely complex humor. Their jokes work on multiple levels simultaneously. If you need it explained to you, you may have missed the point entirely. The 19th difference is a deeply personal relationship with time itself. People with extremely high IQs are often acutely aware of how much remains unlearned, undone, and unexplored. This awareness creates a quiet urgency that most people around them never seem to feel. Philosophers and psychologists have noted that this heightened temporal awareness is often strongest in those with the greatest cognitive capacity. Knowing how vast the world of understanding truly is, and how finite life is, produces a very specific and persistent kind of quiet sadness. The 20th difference is perhaps the most quietly defining of all. People with extremely high IQs often feel a deep responsibility to think clearly in a world that often does not. That weight is real. It is not arrogance. It is a burden they carry willingly. Research on intellectual giftedness consistently shows that high IQ individuals tend to feel a stronger internal obligation to accuracy, fairness, and truth. They cannot easily pretend not to know what they know. That honesty, to them, feels not like a choice, but like a moral necessity. Now, consider this for a moment. Behind every person who seems distant, overly quiet, or somehow unreachable, there may be a mind working through layers most people never see. Depth, when it is real, does not always look like what we expect it to. You know what brings us fully back to where we started? The assumption that an extremely high IQ means a simpler life, clear confidence, or natural social ease. The reality is almost the complete opposite of everything that assumption contains. The most intelligent people among us are often the ones quietly questioning themselves in the corners of rooms. They feel too much, see too much, and carry thoughts that most people nearby will never fully understand or have the patience to explore. Real intelligence does not announce itself. It sits quietly, asks questions no one else thought to ask, feels pain at a depth others never reach, and carries a mind that never stops searching, even long after the rest of the world has gone to sleep.